Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to another week of Force of Will news. So we have a couple things going to go over this week. A lot of it is more competition related sort of news, so we'll go ahead and get right into it. So first, if you guys weren't aware, we had our ARG this past weekend. We had done a video on it if you guys are curious on more details, but it was really awesome. Which if you guys aren't aware, this was the first ARG, and not only the first ARG, but the first one to enforce the EU bans inside of the US, so Prisha, Chimera, and Hook. So it was really cool seeing the deck variety. We had a huge spread of decks, not only in the top 4, but also in the top 8, and just in the entire group of 31 players that attended was all just a great spread of decks. We had a random Lunia decks come out of nowhere. Lunia was the Lapis Cluster starter deck, so that was kind of cool to see. The winner ended up going to Al Hamad as well, which is cool to see him come back again as well. If you want more details on that, you can go visit our either YouTube channel where I have the video going over it, or our website tcgscrubs.com, where there's an article talking about it, as well as having all the deck lists and all that compiled into one place for you guys. Next up, Malaysia ended up adopting the EU ban, so this essentially makes it so the US is one of the only remaining Force of Will countries that hasn't adopted the bans at all outside of ARG. So it's kind of sucks that they still haven't done it officially, but they're probably just waiting for the new set to come out. That's usually when they announce their official bans, so they just, for whatever reason, want to really keep on that strict schedule and wait, I guess. But it's pretty much confirmation that the US will get these bans once the new set comes out, just because every other country has gotten it and the ARG is enforcing it, and since ARG is officially associated with Force of Will, it's just a given that the bans are going to come through pretty soon here. So December 8th or something like that. I forget if bans come out the same day as the set or a week before. I'm drawing a blank on that, but next 3 or 4 weeks or so. Next, if you guys missed it, they announced over at Games and Geek, which if you haven't seen, there's a really large store that deals heavily in Force of Will and all that. They do big tournaments. Just past week or two ago, they did a big 2K tournament, which is pretty cool. They did an official announcement that now they're going to start every 8 weeks. They're going to be doing a 1K tournament, and during these 1K tournaments, not only will they have the normal pricing and cash prizes, etc., but they'll also, the top 4 will get buys sort of into their Midwest National event. So when they go in, they have an official instant buy for their first round. And so they that also was the announcement of their Midwest National event, which is going to be an event that they'll announce at a later date, exactly the details of it and when and all that. But it'll be a huge minimum 5K tournament, and it could potentially get larger. They said up to a 10K event, depending on the amount of people that come over. And it's just going to be this really cool big cash event essentially. So that'll be really cool to see. I'm pretty excited about that, just because it's really great for the game as a whole, just to have stores that outside of the official circuit being able to do these big tournaments. It helps drum up excitement for the game overall, especially if it's cash related stuff like this 5K and all that. And it's just a lot of fun, so I'm really glad that we're expanding in that sense to these different things. So it's a cool thing to look forward to, especially if you guys are in the area or within driving distance without too much strain on you guys. But it's nice that they have their own mini competition going on now, essentially. Next, we have official, if anyone was still wondering, it's basically officially confirmed that Jordan is no longer with the company, because I know some people still had their doubts, or that he was still might be working for Casters or something like that. But he officially posted that he has moved back to California and is moving in there and all that. So 100% not with the company anymore. Unfortunately, we haven't been able to get into contact with him to ask him any questions about it or to get any confirmation. We haven't been able to just get into any contact at all. But this is the final confirmation, just for anyone who's straggling behind and wondering. And lastly, just a cool little thing in case you guys had missed it. We have our podcast that started, and we officially have our podcast on iTunes and Google Play. So if you guys like listening to podcasts, I know I do on the drive to work and stuff like that, it's now officially on Google Play and iTunes. Right now, I think it's going to be taking a day lagging behind till it goes up. We're sort of figuring that out, but we're hoping we'll figure out a way to make that go up sooner, just by doing certain upload times and stuff like that. But It'll be up there at some point on iTunes and Google Play, so you just search TCG Scrubs on either of them and it should come up. We'll also be, if you guys are interested in joining our Patreon, we're looking at maybe doing a Patreon only mini podcast every once in a while. So that's something that you could look forward to if you want to join our Patreon, in addition to whatever benefits are on there based on the tiers. And we'll be adding stuff as we go along, as always. But yeah, that's basically all the news. It's sort of a little mini amount, not too much craziness going on here. And like I said, we have our podcast going on now. We'll have some gameplay stuff coming out soon here as well. And just a lot of cool stuff coming up, so keep an eye out for that.